Continuation of our discussion on option contract. Question: what is the effect of acceptance and withdrawal of the offer? Okay? Punta muna tayo sa acceptance. Okay? Kasi dalawang tanong yan. Ano daw ang epekto pag tinanggap o kaya naman withdraw yung offer? Kung tinanggap ng buyer yung offer ng seller, this is the effect. Okay? If yung offer ay tinanggap, okay, and such acceptance has been communicated. So, dapat i-communicate mo yung acceptance mo. Okay? Before the withdrawal is communicated, the acceptance creates a perfected contract. Okay? This is the effect. The acceptance creates a perfected contract. So, kahit daw na, even if there is no consideration paid yet for the option. Paano naman pag na-withdraw yung offer? Okay? Ang mangyayari dyan, of course, the withdrawal of the offer, it will not consummate the option contract. Pero ito, it will perfect the contract. So, pag withdraw, it will not perfect the contract or it will not consummate the contract. How about the right of first refusal? Ano tong tinatawag nating right of first refusal? Ang right of first refusal ay isang karapatan. Diba? Unang tatanggi. Karapatan na unang tumanggi. Okay? At Tagalog na. Slase ko man niya. Anya ating nga karapatan. Ano tong karapatan na to? This is a right. Okay? Right of first priority. All things and conditions being equal. Identity of the terms and conditions offered to the optionee and all other prospective buyers, with optionee to enjoy the right of first priority. It creates a promise to enter into contract of sale, and it has no separate consideration. Halos pareho sila ng nature ng isang option contract. Okay? Pero ang right of first refusal, okay, nagbibigay ito sa optionee. Okay? Usually, yung buyer. Okay? Para mas madali niyong maintindihan. Example, yung buyer, meron siyang right of first refusal. Paano ang application nun? Okay? Si buyer, siya, example na lang, si Pedro. Di ba yung kaninang example ko sa inyo? Si Pedro, binigyan niya ako ng option contract. May option contract kami ni Pedro. Isang buwan. Tapos, binigyan ko siya ng 10,000 na option money. Yung option money ay separate and distinct sa consideration sa contract of sale. Okay? Ngayon, binigyan niya ako ng right of first refusal. Eh, di ba ako yung buyer? Eh, kaso, nabalitaan ng mga ibang marites na may mura palang lupang binebenta si Pedro. So, ngayon, si Maria ay, at saka si Marites, mga chismosa sila. Gusto na din nilang bilhin yung lupa na binebenta ni Pedro. Ngayon, kaso wala silang right of first refusal. Okay? They also have the money to buy, but they are not enjoying my right. That is the right of first refusal. Since I am bestowed and granted with the right of first refusal. Ano ba again yung right of first refusal? Ako muna yung mag-decide kung tatanggapin ko yung or bibilhin ko yung lupa o hindi. So, in that case, it creates a promise to enter into a contract of sale. Okay? So, dito, parang mangangako ako kay Pedro na bibilhin ko yung lupa. Pero, ang pinagkaiba ng right of first refusal sa option contract, dito wala pong separate na consideration. Okay? Sa option contract, merong separate consideration. Anong tawag natin doon? We call that option money. Dito wala. Okay? Wala. There is no separate consideration. Diba? Sabi ko sa inyo, sa option contract, pwedeng classified yan as may option money o walang option money. Kung may option money, okay, the contract is perfected. Pero kung walang option money, the contract is not perfected. So, parang wala siyang option contract. Next one. These are cases. So, you read the cases, okay? You are, bahala na kayo sa cases. Ito. Question. May the right of first refusal be waived? Ano ang sinasabi na waive? Okay? No nag-waive ka sa friend mo, nag-hi ka ba? Nag-hi hello ka ba? Hindi. When we say waive under the law, di ba? Siguro yung mga magulang nyo nag-execute na ng waiver. Di ba? Di ba? Pag may waiver, tas may activity, okay? Parang ang nakalagay sa waiver nyo is hindi magiging liable yung school pag nadisgrasya kayo. Ganon ang concept ng waiver. When we say waive, you remove the right. Okay? You remove any liability. So, question. Pwede mo bang alisin yung karapatan mo of right of first refusal? Kasi you waive it. The answer there is yes. Okay? Ang right of first refusal ay parang it is similar with the other rights. The other rights where you can waive it and or when a party entered into a compromise agreement. So, you can just waive it. So, ano ang difference po? Ano ang pinagkaiba ng option contract sa right of first refusal? Ito yung diniscuss ko sa inyo kanina. Okay. Ito, dito muna tayo. Okay. Ang option contract, sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, ay isang preparatory contract. Ang option contract at contract of sale, magkaiba din yan. Okay? Ito. Punta tayo dito. Dito sa table. Kita nyo tong table. Yan. Ito table na to. Okay, here, ang option contract is a principal contract. Ang right of first refusal, it is an accessory contract. Di ba pag may accessory, parang pag may hikaw ka, it's your accessory. Di ba? Accessory, meaning paano mo ba gagamitin yung hikaw? You put it on your ears. So, your ear is your principal and your earring is your accessory. Parang ganon. Example ko lang para hindi kayo malito. So, your option contract is a principal contract. And your right of first refusal is an accessory. When we say accessory, it cannot stand on its own. Dapat meron itong didikitan. It is dependent on another contract. Okay? So, ang principal contract, may sana. It can stand on its own. So, dito sa option contract, para maging perfect, para ma-consummate siya, kailangang may consideration. Ang tawag natin doon ay option money. Okay? Sa right of first refusal, kailangan ba ng consideration? The answer there is no. Okay? There is no need for separate consideration. Why? Kasi isa lang siyang accessory contract. Okay? Kasla pampapintas laeng. Kasjay. Haan nga masapul nga dapay sa bali nga bayad na. In an option contract, okay, the subject matter and the price should be valid. Here, it's not important in right of first refusal. And next one, hindi siya conditional ito, option contract, okay? But in a right of first refusal, it is conditional. And lastly, it is not subject to specific performance ang option contract. Okay, you cannot, it can be withdrawn. Okay, pero ang right of first refusal, it is subject to performance, specific performance. Pwede mong pilitin yung tao. Bakit? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang right of first refusal, there is a promise to enter into a contract of sale. Oh, we are done with that right of first refusal. Punta naman tayo sa policitation. What is policitation? Your policitation is defined as unaccepted unilateral promise to buy or sell. So, hindi tinanggap. Okay? This produces no judicial effects and creates no legal bond. This is a mere offer and has not yet been converted into a contract. It covers the period from the time the prospective contracting parties indicate interest in the contract to the time the contract is perfected. Okay. Question. Meron bang legal bond na nakikreate sa negotiation stage? The answer, there is no. Kakasabi ko lang sa inyo that it creates no legal bond. Okay? None. This one. So, the other term for negotiation stage is your solicitation stage. How about perfection? When is there a perfected contract? Okay? This is the answer. As a general rule, a contract is deemed perfected at the moment there is a meeting of the minds upon the thing which is the object of the contract and upon the price. Ano yung sinasabi nating meeting of the minds? Ito yung consent of the parties. Okay? Who are the parties in a contract of sale? It's the seller and the buyer. Exception. When the sale is subject to a suspensive condition by virtue of law or stipulation. I'll just discuss to you the foundation na lang. And kayo nang bahala sa cases. And in order for you to understand very well the topics, you need also to read the cases. Okay? Auction sale. Ewan ko kung nanonood kayo sa TV, mga auction. Di ba pag may nag-auction, there are parang may mga mag-offer ng presyo. Okay? So, kailan daw nagkakaroon or kailan na perfect yung sale sa auctioneer? Okay? Here, a sale by auction is perfected when the auctioneer announces its perfection by fall of the hammer. Take note of that. Okay? A sale by auction is perfected when the auctioneer announces its perfection by the fall of the hammer. No nagtok-tok, ajay kasla martilyo na. Okay? Next one, let's go here na lang sa obligations of the buyer. What are the obligations created in a contract of sale as to the obligations of the buyer? Merong tatlo. Okay? Meron pong tatlong obligasyon ang buyer natin. Ano yon? Number 1 is bayaran yung presyo. Siyempre, payment of the price. Here, seller is not bound to deliver unless the purchase price is paid. So, wala obligasyon yung seller na i-deliver yan kung hindi mo naman babayaran yung presyo. Pero right now, okay, kung nag-avail kayo ng Shopee, Lazada, ganyan, di ba meron yung COD, cash on delivery. Di ba? Mga ganon. Okay. Next one is, you also have the obligation to accept, okay, delivery of the things sold. So, pag may na-deliver sa'yo at nagbayad ka, edi tanggapin mo yon. Okay, tanggapin mo yung dinedeliver na material or property sa'yo. And next one is to pay for the expenses of delivery. So, ang may obligasyon na bayaran ang delivery fee, it's the buyer. Okay. Meron bang ibang obligasyon ang buyer? Meron po. Marami yan. O, yan, tatlo. Okay. So, lagi niyong tandaan na yung 3 primary obligations of the buyer. You take note of that. I will ask that later on. How about the other obligations of the buyer? There are also 3. Okay? Number 1 is to take care of the goods without the obligation to return, where the goods are delivered to the buyer and he rightfully refuses to accept it. Okay. Here, the goods in the buyer's possession are at the seller's risk. Number 2, to be liable as a depositary if he voluntarily constituted himself as such. Okay? And lastly, to pay interest for the period in between the delivery of the thing and the payment of the price. And in case of, should it have been stipulated, should the thing sold and delivered produces fruits or income, or should he be in default? How about the seller? What are the obligations of the seller naman? Okay? The following are the obligations of the seller. There are 6 obligations. Okay? D, D, T, W, T, P. I will let you enumerate this one later on. Okay? What are the obligations of the seller? Number 1. Number 1 is to deliver the thing sold. Next one, ida-deliver niya rin yung mga fruits, accessions, and accessories. Okay? Anong pinagkaiba ng accessions at accessories? Okay? Accessions are those that are more important. Ang accessories, these are just for usually pampaganda. Okay? Pampaganda. Mas importante itong accessions. Example, in a car. Ano ang accessions ng car? Okay? Yung tools. 'Di ba? Yung tools na ginagamit pag example na flat yung gulong, yung mga signage, those are accessions. Pero ano naman ang accessories? Ito yung car seat, okay? Yung cover ng car seat, ito yung mga pampabango sa sasakyan, yung mga, those are just accessories. Next one is, the seller also has the obligation na i-transfer yung ownership. Okay? Siyempre, alangan nakapangalan sa kanya yung binebenta niya. No? Pag binili na yan, dapat i-transfer din niya yung ownership. Next one is warranties. Okay? So, why? Why is there a need for a warranty? That is to prevent fraud. And next one is to take care of the thing pending delivery with proper diligence. And what kind of diligence? Okay, that diligence required is your ordinary diligence, which is the diligence of a good father of a family. And lastly, to pay for the expenses of the deed of sale unless there is a stipulation to the contrary. When we say unless there's a stipulation to the contrary, pwede nilang i-arrange na si buyer ang maging liable for the expenses of the deed of sale. Usually not, but not all the time. It is part of the purchase price. Okay? Okay. Let's go back to the characteristics of a contract of sale. Okay? When we say consensual, okay, a contract of sale is consensual. It is perfected by mere consent of the buyer and the seller. Okay? And you know, of course, when we say bilateral, because there are 2 obligations. The obligation of the seller and the obligation of the buyer. And you know, kakadiscuss ko lang sa inyo yung mga obligations. Okay. And generally, contract of sale is commutative. Okay. However, there are situations where it becomes aleatory. Ano yun? In some contract of sale, what one receives may in time be greater or smaller than what he has given. You should be careful in situations na nagiging barter na siya. Kasi minsan, may mga situations na sobrang baba na nung consideration or yung price that it becomes or it looks like it's a barter. Okay? So, nagiging aleatory siya. And a contract of sale is principal. Anong ibig sabihin ng principal again? A principal contract is one where it can stand on its own. Makata, dirty, sarili na nga saka. Anong kabaliktaran ng principal? Ang kabaliktaran ng principal ay accessory. Okay, ang example ng accessory natin is your right of first refusal. Okay? And here, title and not a mode of acquiring ownership. Okay? Why? It's not a mode of acquiring ownership. Because a contract of sale is only a title. It's only a paper. Ano ang mode of acquiring ownership sa contract of sale? It's the sale itself. It's a mode or it's a conveyance. Okay? Next one is onerous. Anong sinatawag nating onerous? Anong ibig sabihin ng onerous? Okay, ang contract of sale is onerous. When we say onerous, adati consideration na. Adati ibayad mo. Meron siyang bayad, hindi yan libre. Ang kabaliktaran ng onerous is gratuitous. Okay? When we say gratuitous, it's free. Okay? Ang mga kontrata na gratuitous in nature is your donation. Okay? When you donate, there is no payment, there's no consideration, it's free. So, it's gratuitous in nature. Okay? At pag onerous, okay, merong bayad. And lastly, your reciprocal. Okay? So, when we say reciprocal, and with regards to the duties, it's similar with the bilateral. And lastly, your nominate. When we say nominate, merong pangalan na indicated or specified sa batas. And what is the name of a contract of sale? Of course, it's a contract of sale itself. Next one. Okay. Please read the differences between a contract of let's just go over na lang. Diba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, sale and donation. Ang donation is gratuitous in nature. Nagiging onerous lang ito usually pag may payment of taxes or those that is considered conditional in nature. Okay? Pero generally, it's gratuitous. And a sale is onerous all the time. A sale is consensual. Pero ang donation, it must be formal. When we say formal contract, kailangang nakapapel. Di ba nga ito na-discuss ko kanina? Formalities. Basta pag may nabasa kayong formal, form yan. Big sabihin, diba pag mag-fill up kayo ng form, ada papel na. Okay? Here, it must be in writing to enforce your right. Pwede ka bang mag-donate na walang papel? Pwede. Nangyayari ngayon, example, sa simbahan, di ba? When we donate or when we give our alms, okay, hindi naman kailangang nakapapel pa yon. So, but here, generally, when we speaking of donation, it must be in writing. Of course, the governing law in your sale is your law on sales, and the governing law in donation is your law on donation. Okay. We also have your barter. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na be careful. Okay? Because if the thing, ito ang importante dyan. Okay? Tsaka ito. Sa sale kasi, ang consideration is pera. Pero sa barter, ang consideration dyan is yung bagay. Okay? Pero lagi ngang tandaan sa sale, kailangang equal or the value of the thing, yung bagay, is equal or less than the amount of the money. Okay? Para maging sale siya. Okay? Pero kung yung bagay ay mas mahal kesa dun sa pera, example, yung bagay is 500,000, pero yung pera na binibigay lang 10,000, it may be considered as a barter. And these are both governed by your law on sales. Okay. You read this one, agency to sell.